Hi guys, I am going to be doing a video about this painting that I talked about in my last video. I was really excited about this painting, to be honest with you, but I just don't think I had a good enough sketch for it. I mean, it's a decent painting, don't get me wrong, and it's not done, but it's not resonating. Let's just see what I have in my palette real quick. Hang on. Let's take a look. So this is the palette right here, and we're gonna try to fix this. So first and foremost, we found the image. We picked this one. So first and foremost, we are getting in the background and we're getting in the mirror. So what's in the composition is this is a mirror. Hopefully you can see, hang on. This is a small mirror that I took a picture of the fan in the small mirror. It's a nest. You can see a lot of random things behind it. There's a lot of stuff going on behind, but you can't really see. It's kind of dark. It's kind of in shadow, which I think is really interesting. And honestly, the fact that it's a little bit more of an abstracted image makes this piece might be a lot more successful because the original image is so abstract. So basically what I've been doing is I have been putting in kind of sketching it in, right? So on the outside, right, I had the leftover paint, right? So I used the blues, the turquoise, and the cool blue, a turquoise, and burnt sienna to bring in the shadows with a little bit of red, with some red. And then the mirror, I'm using primarily I had some like leftover remnants from out here on my brush. So I kind of sketched in the fan's shape. And then I used the yellows, the warm yellow on the outside and the cool yellow for the light. And it's kind of worked in, I think. What do you think? I don't know. So because this painting, I'm actually so excited about it. I had forgotten about these images that I had done. And the favorite part about more of an abstract image is that if it doesn't turn out exactly the same, it will make it so much more interesting. It doesn't have to be exactly the same for it to be interesting, I mean. I don't know if that made sense, but go. Okay, a little more yellow here. Kind of try to bring this in a little bit better. There we go. And we're just gonna round this out here. Now, there's a lot of light that needs to be brought back in. I think this is not bright, and there's not much contrast right now. This is just to sketch it in and use up the paint. I really hate wasting. Wasting is kind of the cardinal sin of being an artist, honestly, because especially with oils, you know, they're so expensive. We're just finishing up the last little bit of paint. We're almost there. And again, this is just the sketch. This is just the sketch. A lot of times when we start paintings, right, it's going to be in that really ugly phase for a very long time. There we go. We finished up the painting. I have no paint basically left, and any other paint that I would have used here, I can't. It's minuscule. Here, let me show you. See if I can. As you can see, the paint's gone. I'm going to clean this palette right now, and I'm going to add the paints that I actually need. So I'm probably going to bring more blue. I don't know why. I'm really a huge fan of using blue as my underpainting. I think it's one of the, especially because I already have so much red, I think it often can really enhance the painting. I'm going to add some blue and some burnt sienna and probably bring in some white already at this stage. The reason being, I'm not going to wait to do the white. In a lot of ways, I think that might not be traditional. Burnt sienna is kind of like the underpainting, and then you use white and burnt umber as the highlights and the shadows. That's more of a traditional method. Do I use that method? No. I like doing my own thing. Because here's the thing. I feel like sometimes the burnt sienna, white, and burnt umber can get very flat when it comes to color. Not so much the actual shape, but more like the hue and the depth as a completed painting. I'm gonna keep working on this. I'm gonna come back when it's a little bit more developed and explain what I did, and maybe leave a few spots so I can show you what to do. Otherwise, this is gonna be a very long video and I don't have the time to edit that. So, here we go. So I had to take a break. One, the painting was really wet and it needed a hot minute, but this is what it looks like. I think it looks really good. I am so excited that it's turning out. I mean, It's not going to be done by the end of this video. Subscribe and you'll see the end of this painting. I am so excited that you're on this journey with me. This is the first time I've actually really done a paint with me video. And I thank you for staying as long as you have. And continue watching. This is the kind of content I want to share with you because it's such a big part of my life. I want to share the progress, the day-to-day progress of an artist. It's not just about already being a good artist and going back and being like, this is where you're not a good artist. I'm gonna be real with you. I want to be an artist that can be like, let's get better together. Let's get this video started because I could yap forever. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I was working the darks and the lights. This part, I'm going to be focusing more on hues and kind of color blocking, so to speak, creating shape with color. And I know I'm not using the right terms, but I hope that it helps somehow. Okay, now I don't know if you can see this from over there. So I kind of screwed up with the alignment. So I'll just explain as I go. This is the warm blue and this is the cold blue, right? This is the cold yellow, this is the warm yellow. This is the cold red, this is the cool red, this is the warm red. Now, if you don't know what that means, that's fine. I'm gonna explain it real quick. Fast forward if you already know. This is the warm blue because it has a hint of red in it. Now, I wouldn't say this is the best example of a warm blue. The warm blue that I typically use is not the cobalt blue, but it's the ultramarine blue. And this one says the green shade, but technically it's more of a warm blue than the Prussian blue is this blue, which is extremely dark. It's one of the darkest blues out there. One of my favorites. Honestly, I use it for everything. Now with the yellow, it's kind of crazy I did this by accident, but there's a little bit of green here. I accidentally mixed a little bit of, I think it's the Prussian blue in it. So you can kind of see the green and see how quickly it becomes green. If you try to make a green out of this, you're not gonna get a green. It's gonna be like a muddy green. And I'll show the warm yellow, right? The warm yellow and the warm blue makes this green, right? I'm gonna make a real color wheel someday and I'll explain it even better. That's gonna be a separate video. This is a short one just for this one because this is the cool red and this is the warm red. Why? Because this has blue in it. This has more of a yellowish tint to it. This looks more like an orange and this looks more like a purple. If you're trying to figure out what is considered a cool versus a warm hue, what is it closest to when it comes to a secondary color, right? Does it look like a green or does it look more like an orange for the yellows? For the reds, does it look more like a red purple or does it look more like an orange? Or for the blues, does it look more like a purple or does it look more like a green? If you're trying to figure out, I'm kind of limiting my palette to kind of more of a muted tone because if I go too bright, then it's going to be interesting. So it is not accurate to the painting at all. So first and foremost, we're going to start off with the light yellow. Got our light yellow here. The texture is not great, so I'm probably going to have to remix, but that's okay. Then we're going to go with the light orange. May not look super light on here, but trust me, on that canvas, it's gonna look bright. And that goes into color theory, but we're not going into that right now. And then we've got two darker oranges mixed with various, the top one is gonna be mixed with the warm yellow, warm red. And then this one is the cool yellow and cool red. Right, you can kind of see it. And then next up, we're gonna do the green. It was the Prussian blue and the light yellow, the cool yellow. So the cool blue, cool yellow, we're gonna put that at the top. And then we're gonna add the cobalt blue and the warm yellow green right next to it. That is the warm yellow and warm blue that made that green, right? So then we're gonna add this green. I added some red to it because I needed a little bit more of a brown color. So that's what it looks like here. So lastly, for the greens, there's two lighter greens. This one is mixed with the light orange. I mixed this green with this orange and it got this color, which is it's a pretty neutral green. And then I just kind of made a lighter version of it right here. That's the green palette. And again, they're gonna look more muted on a white, but on here, they're gonna be bright, just so you know. And that's me trying to make it more muted. Purple is not the color that I'm trying to focus on right now, but I made this really dark purple using the warm blue, the cobalt blue, with two kinds of red. I used the Azurin red and I used the cadmium red to make this. And I also added an ultramarine blue as well. So this is kind of a muddier purple. Reason being, if I use anything too much, it's gonna be too bright, especially if I add white to it, right? What's gonna happen? It's gonna become more of a gray, actually. You can kind of see that. I added a tiny bit of white here. It's more gray. Hopefully it's not too shiny. So that's my palette to start, and we're just gonna start going. I'm gonna put my headphones on, and I'm just gonna lock in, and I'll show you the final results with the colors that I've used. I'm probably gonna have to mix some colors here and there. If I add anything, I'll try to bring it up at the end. This is how far I've gotten, and I've gotten a lot of mid-tones in here, a lot of shaping. I made the mirror a little bit more round. I brought the background a little bit more to life by pushing and pulling the lights in the dark. Same thing with the mirror, pushing and pulling the lights of the mirror of the fan. Bringing so many midtones in that it's almost a little too flat, I would say, at least in the mirror. I think I need to bring a little bit more dimension back in the tines, and a little bit more contrast between the tines of the fan. The blades of the fan and the ceiling itself. I think it's a good step forward, and I will show you the finished product in a few minutes, but I just kind of wanted to explain that before I moved forward. I think it's a good. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. This is where it's at today, and I think I got it to a point kind of where I'm comfortable with it being. To stay here, dry. I can come back. I need to look at it with fresh eyes, and let me know if this is helpful. I really hope it was. I mean, this is the color palette that I was showing you earlier, so this is what it looks like with this color palette. I did have to add some of that Prussian blue back in, a little bit more red, a little bit more white, but for the most part I used that color palette, and you can kind of see it here. Let me know what you think. There's obviously some stuff I already want to change, but it needs a good dry before I can do that. So let me know if this was helpful. Thank you for watching this video. And so subscribe and comment what your favorite part was about this video. How can I make it better for you as the viewer? And I am really excited that I'm going to be doing these paint with me videos. So let me know what you think. There will be a part 2. It'll be up soon. And yeah, let me know what you think. Okay, have a good day. Bye.